I would think this would be beautiful. And because it's my favorite, I think that if we could be open by Father's Day, wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be something special?
For all the families to come together. All the fathers.
We could all be grilling, and we could just pat our dads on the back and thank them for all the work they've done. And I think that's my favorite holiday, Father's Day.
Absolutely. Just to say thank you to all the fathers.
That's a cool type of guy, a guy who doesn't have kids, and he's like, yeah, my favorite day, Father's Day, it's the best one.
I just respect those men so much.
Yeah. He just goes up to any guy who looks like he has kids.
I think it'll be funny. They keep interviewing Trump, and he keeps pushing it to different holidays. So it's in my mind, and this is just me. I mean, the doctors may say one thing, but for me, beautiful time would be Labor Day. Wouldn't that be something? It's sort of the end of summer. It's sort of it's back to school. I mean, wouldn't that be beautiful? I mean, we don't know. It might not be. It might be well past beyond that. It might be Valentine's Day 2021. But if we could, I'd love to see that. Wouldn't that be beautiful, Labor Day?
I want to see everyone Valentine's Day, February next year. Everyone will be kissing each other. I want one big kiss festival.
I think
everyone's kissing.
We have so many wonderful Albanian Americans. You know, by the end of November, we're gonna have Albanian Independence Day. You know, everyone remembers that day in 1443. It's so beautiful, and it's gonna be a whole big beautiful thing. The bird's gonna be everywhere. Everyone's gonna be flying the bird, and then maybe it's a great day, Albanian Day. Everyone loves it, but if we don't, it's not done by then. Maybe Purim.
What about this?
Purim.
What about this? Listen, we had a beautiful a special leap day this year, just one of a kind 2020 leap year, end of February. I think if we could get things working by the next leap year, that would be really something special, wouldn't it?
The next leap day. Something? It'd be wonderful.
Anyone else a little bit of a nerd? I love Pie Day.
It's like speaking of our leader, our president. A week or so ago, I was like terrified that like the line out of the government and the leaders of industry and finance were just that in 2 weeks we're just going to send everyone who's healthy back to work because like the economy's just gotta keep going. And it seems like they've abandoned that this week.
I think someone got through to him somehow. I don't know how.
It's good, but it's also scary because it tells you like how serious this shit actually is. That like even they couldn't convince him to
dullard who's been just freaking out about his precious stocks.
But what's so fucking insane though is like, and this is almost like hack to point out, but like 3 weeks ago, which I know seems like 3 years now that we're in this like in year zero, but he was saying it was like a hoax.
Yep.
Yeah. Or like he was saying that like it's the media. It's a hoax against Trump because I'm doing so good. And then after that, he said we've got it contained. And then after that, he said only 22 people have died and like millions.
It's going to be down to zero.
Diarrhea every year. And then just yesterday at the press conference, he said, "Look, if less than 200,000 people die, it's a win. It's an unambiguous W for us."
I thought it was such a stupid thing to start bringing up like H1N1 and whatever the Ebola,
SARS or Ebola.
So it's like because we all are adults that lived through that and know and remember that we didn't stop going to work and we didn't like my kids didn't stop going to school, or you know what I mean, like bringing up like empirical things that happened in our very recent past that we can now compare this to. Which it's like, no, you can't tell the most diehard Trump supporter. You remember remember when that H1N1 hit and it just decimated the country? Nobody fucking remembers or cares about that. I mean, I'm sure it's terrible. Some people died and we hate when people die. I mean, we really hate it. But, right? Isn't it crazy? Like, don't give us an example of something that worked out reasonably well. Like, Ebola did not become a national tragedy, right? Like whatever happened, they handled it appropriately as far as I can remember, unless they've erased our minds.
I mean, I think, well, the last thing you said, I mean, I think like people like you, like people who like pay a lot of attention and like are constant consumers or like reasonably high volume consumers of media will remember. They do remember H1N1. They do remember Ebola. But for all intents and purposes, like most people's minds are wiped. Like the speed of the news cycle and the way that we process events is completely cancerous and destroys any ability to retain information or have any like context for things that have happened, even in the last 6 years. And yeah, like people who would never vote for Trump, like a lot of them remember it. They're like, oh yeah, there was no like national lockdown for Ebola. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But his base, like the point of him saying that isn't to like convince everyone. It's to convince like it's like to give his base something to say, and then to give like undecided voters who like a lot, like I'd say like probably most people in this country have like no real frame of reference for events that take place because of like, I mean, a lot of reasons. Like because of like how little free time they have compared to other people. B, how bad our media is and how like poisonous the way that we determine news cycles are. They're like, oh yeah, I mean, was it that bad? I mean, I guess, yeah.
Well, somebody made a good point. I don't know who it was online, but they were saying how the reality is most people get their news from local news. Like they put on the local news channel, and there it is, and they get like the most of the things that are important to them are the stuff happening around their community, and that the fact that they're preempting these local news broadcasts with these nightly Trump rally press conferences is that a lot of people are getting like the main source of information from those insane monologues at the lectern. So yeah, I guess you're right. Is they are going to be able to shape the narrative for a lot of people.
And, that's why, according to opinion polls, 60% of America approves of Trump's handling of this coronavirus pandemic, which is astonishing.
Well, they're not dead yet. He's doing a good enough job. I mean, honestly, I think a lot of this is just because it doesn't feel like it, but it's still incredibly early days. And you're not hearing so much about the swine flu this week as you were last week because it doesn't make any sense now. It was just a thing to say. It was just a thing to say. Like 3 weeks ago, when it was still like, what's happening? You're like, well, look, fucking swine flu killed all these people. Nobody said anything. Liberal bias. But now you're like, well, what about that? And it's like, oh, I never said that. What's the swine flu? Who are you? I can't taste anything. I mean, Trump said a constant momentary screaming present.
Triage. It's just just stop the bleeding. Keep talking.
Just keep talking.
I think Mike Pence was interviewed like yesterday or this morning and was like asked about like all of Trump's incredibly like either downplaying it, outright denying it, or like his rosy scenarios about like how much we've got this under control. And Pence said like, look, he was just trying to give people hope. He was just trying to, it's like a pep talk at halftime. It's just like, I know it looks bad.
Well, his new thing, this is amazing, and it's a switch almost overnight from this is a hoax or it's overblown by the media to make Trump look bad to now they brought out that chart and he's like, look, it could be a million's dead. But here, we're going to get it down here. And 100,000. And if we do that, I think I did a good job.
What about the shtick where he was like, a lot of people were saying we should just ride it out. We shouldn't do anything.
Yes, literally what he was saying.
That was you. That was only you talking into the mirror.
He said I was one of the only ones standing up against like some very, very loud, very prominent voices who just wanted people to go back to work. And like it was no big deal.
Yeah, it's just him watching like Sean Hannity and talking to Sean Hannity through the TV. No, Sean, I don't know about this one, Sean.
Yeah, that's literally just his argument with Larry Kudlow, and he won that argument because Larry Kudlow like fell down face first into his Rolodex. He still uses that because he's 85 years old.
But when he came out there with that chart, others have said this, but it's just stunning. He basically pitched it as like he made a deal with the virus. Like the virus wants to kill 2-3 million people. I say 100,000 bet last offer, and they took it, folks. They took the deal. Look at me. Look at the deal I made.
Yeah, and like that horrific like black like like bell curve kind of graph or whatever. It's like it's terrifying to look at. It's all blacked out.
It looks like death himself.
It's like eyes and a skull in the middle of it. Yeah. No, you're Matt. Yeah, he did. He made a deal with the virus.
Yeah,
And, like, honestly,
folks.
Think how good that deal is.
And of course, so he's pitching it as if there is end up being like 6-figure death toll, that's a win, and you have to like give him credit for it. Even though the reality is that it's not like stopping. It's you don't give. He wants credit for all those people who aren't going to die from the projection, when really he deserves blame for a huge chunk of those people who did not have to die if they'd taken it all seriously at the beginning.
Well, this was maybe hacky too, but the other day I was like, Trump basically takes a tremendous shit all over the bathroom. I missed the toilet completely. The whole floor is filled with my feces, and it's diarrhea, and it's everywhere. And we're doing an incredible job cleaning it up, and we have the best maids, the best people, and we didn't get it anywhere near the shower, and we haven't gotten it anywhere near the sink, but it is all over the floor, and it will take a while, and it's going to be bad, and you're not going to want to go in there for a while. But it's, but it's like, yeah, but it was your shit that you missed the toilet, dude.
No one told us before this. You had too many dried mangoes. And it's gonna go everywhere. No one knew that before this, and now it's a very, very, very good thing that we know. If you eat too many dried mangoes, it's gonna go everywhere.
It's gonna come out, and it's gonna come out quickly, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna cramp.